Good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic evening. I would like to welcome everyone to the call. Today's speaker will be Bhavnani-Akowuah. Lovina is a dedicated mother, wife, and an entrepreneur. She received her undergraduate education in the United Kingdom at the University of East London, where she completed a degree in business administration. She did her graduate work at Fairleigh Dickinson University in Teaneck, New Jersey, where she successfully completed their Master's of Business Administration program with a major in Human Resource Management. Today, she is the author of the Unleash Your Greatness book, which is a personal development and motivational book, and is also the founder of LBA Consulting, where she serves her clients in the areas of instructional design, coaching, facilitation, and motivational speaking. Lovina believes that each and every one of us are fearfully and wonderfully made and can truly unleash the greatness in us if we are pursuing our dreams and living a fulfilled life. Lovina has coached thousands of individuals to develop a strong mental and emotional attitude. She believes with the right mentor and coaching, a person can have a rewarding life. Today, Lovina will share with us 5 key lessons on her journey of being unapologetically fearless about pursuing her dreams. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Bhavnani-Akowuah. Lovina, are you there?
I am here. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year ahead of time. It is an honor and a pleasure to be on the call with you tonight. As you heard earlier, over the next 20 minutes or so, I will take you through a journey of my life. While walking this journey, we will end up drawing out 5 key lessons that I have learned on this journey called life. In the end, my hope is that you will walk away from this with a few tips and strategies that will prompt you to reflect on your life as we descend into a new year and assess your level of fulfillment. My goal is to inspire you to find what makes you happy and begin the change process in your life, eventually transforming your dreams to reality. So grab a pen and a paper to take notes and let's dig in. So before I begin, I want to start by sharing a few quotes with you. These are quotes that resonated with me as I was preparing for this training tonight and felt it would set the stage well for what I want to drive home today to help you unleash your greatness. Firstly, one of the quotes is by Steve Jobs, and he says, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, don't settle." The second quote that I want to share with you today is by Joan London, and she says, "A fulfilling life is different to each person. You have to acknowledge your dreams and not just wait for life to happen and opportunities to come knocking at your door." And the third and final quote, which was stated by Farrah Gray, was that build your dreams or someone else will hire you to build theirs. Ladies and gentlemen, these are 3 very powerful quotes that I wanted to share at the beginning of my training just so we can marinate on it a little bit and think about how important it is that we spend some time, or let me say invest some time identifying our dreams, live those dreams, and not spend our entire life living someone else's dream. So, as many of you may know, dreams that are not tied to goals are merely going to remain as such and essentially get labeled as a fantasy. And our first speaker, Ms. Cheryl Wood, shared the same exact statement yesterday. Now, I stumbled on some shocking statistics that I wanted to share also in preparing you mentally for the next few session or the next few tips that I'm going to share. And that is this. In my mind, these statistics may have a direct correlation with the number of people that choose to live an unfulfilled life, and there is not a better time than at the beginning of a new year to reassess yourself and ensure that you are truly walking the path that you're destined to walk. So let's look at these statistics. 80% of people never set goals. Of the 20% that do, 70% fail to achieve their goals. And so essentially only 30% of 20% of the population are able to set goals and achieve it. Ladies and gentlemen, you really owe it to yourself. As your friend, my hope is that this 3-day seminar will serve that purpose for you, not only to motivate you, but to inspire you to make a change that will define you and allow you to leave a legacy behind. Although there is no research backing what I'm about to share now, some scientists have speculated that children start dreaming even before they are born. There is, however, research showing that children start having meaningful dreams from as little as 5 years old. Why am I sharing this with you? This is very important, a very important statistic for us to know, because if we take the time to reflect in our lives, we are more than capable of connecting some dots and identifying the things that we dreamed about when we were little. Not only that, but to validate why we made certain turns or decisions in our lives and whether those decisions need to continue driving the path we take from here on. And that's what sometimes a coach does for us, and the importance of asking for help. The first lesson that I want to share with you guys today, based on my journey, is knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is the first lesson that I want to share with you guys today. This is a process I had to undergo to truly find myself and affirm the journey that God intends me to have. Many of us, unfortunately, don't think about doing this, and that prevents us from living a life full of the plans and the journey that is expected of us. Earlier on this year, I had to spend time with myself to truly understand why my life had taken the path I was on, so that I could course correct and recalibrate my journey. See, ladies and gentlemen, it's just like a GPS system, right? You may place a certain address in your global positioning system, but assuming there is an accident on the way, or the road has been closed due to construction, or there is some sort of roadblock, you will need to find a way around that roadblock. And this is exactly how our lives are. So sometimes we have to stop and ask for directions from someone who is familiar with the area where we're going. You may be wondering, how do you get to know yourself? I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, well, I know myself already. Well, you may think so, but it's important that you revisit that concept. Because when you think about it, we should all know ourselves, right? Wrong. Sometimes all it takes is a journey back into our lives. I had to take a week out from the world. A few months ago, during that week, I spent time with myself, me, myself, and I. I prayed, I walked, I talked to God, and I took a pen and a paper. And I wrote down everything that I could remember, tracking down my life. This allowed me to narrate significant turning points in my life. I was able to connect the dots, going all the way back to when I was 18 years old. See, the problem was that I had conformed my whole life. I did whatever everyone told me to do. Don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful for all the opportunities that was given to me. But had I known myself a little better, I would have insisted on taking a different path. The decision to get a degree in business administration, which was said to you guys eloquently a few minutes ago, was made for me. I went on to start my master's, and the decision to focus on finance was made for me, where I wanted to focus on human resource management. But then from that point on, my life swung like a pendulum. Although I eventually switched majors, I was never able to find a job in that area, and I took one fulfilled job after the other just because that was the experience that showed up most on my resume. How many of you can relate to this? It wasn't until the unfulfilledness that I felt inside of me started leading me to sleepless nights and migraines, literally. Recently, I had a speech from Denzel Washington, and he couldn't have said this any better. He says that the itch that you have, the desire, the dream that keeps you awake at night, that's God's proof to you and already an indication that it's the path He wants for you. So embrace the journey and don't be afraid to step into your greatness. I honestly thought this was such a perfect statement for my training when I saw it. You may be sitting on the call today thinking you're waiting for a sign. But I'm sure that those signs have been shown to you many times, and you're really looking for one last affirmation, right? Well, guess what, guys? Just do it. Do it afraid. Do it knowing the end result, not knowing the end result. But do it anyway. Our first speaker, Cheryl, talked about this yesterday, that we should never make an assumption about what the risk is going to look like. If we do that, we're never going to embrace the change process that we need to undergo in order to live and unleash our greatness. So that was lesson number 1. If you're taking notes, spend time knowing yourself before you enter into 2018. The second lesson that I want to share with you guys today is to learn from your lessons. Honestly, guys, I am not a stranger to this word called mistakes, or let me say failure. I fail every day, but I fail my way forward. Some of us started our failures at the very early stages of our lives, as little as learning to walk. I am sure you fell down multiple times learning how to walk before you were finally able to gather the courage you needed. In 2014, I experienced a major failure in my life that took away my confidence and eventually crippled me to the point that I was unable to continue the journey that I was on. I let that failure hit me so much, it literally took 4 years of my life to overcome it. And the only reason why I was able to was because, once again, the itch never left me, and it literally kept me awake at night. The sense of unfulfillment and God's indication was so glaring to me that I dared not ignore it. Once again, during that 1 week when I shut out the world, I had to take a journey back into my life to help me gather the strength to overcome the obstacles that I would face. This backward journey into my life took me to a moment back in 1993 when I failed miserably in an end of middle school exam in Ghana, West Africa. While all my friends were going back to high school, I was stuck at home resitting the exam and attending a private school just so I wouldn't fall behind. From that point on, I came to a firm decision that success, if it would be up to me. See, ladies and gentlemen, I had forgotten about that commitment I made to myself since that commitment was made 24 years ago. How many of you can relate to that? You made a promise to yourself maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and you forgot about that promise or commitment you made to yourself because life happened. This is another important reason why each and every one of us need to know ourselves, since it helps us to learn from our mistakes, and most importantly, it helps us to recalibrate and get back to the journey that we started or wanted to take in the beginning. Once I was able to find my strength place, I decided that it was important I never forget this promise I made to myself. And for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, I decided to come up with a name that would always give me strength. My kids and I joke about it, that I seriously, and don't laugh, I seriously call myself the Mandingo Warrior because of my admiration for Kunta Kinte and his fighting spirit. You may be sitting on the call today, and maybe you have let a failure knock you down. I want to encourage you to find a strength place, a character, a word, anything that makes you feel like you can conquer the world, and use that to help you get back up. Remember, you are already a pro at failing. If you were able to get up as a baby and push till you learn how to walk, then you can surely make yourself stand up as an adult again. Don't you think so? Well, that was lesson number 2. Learn from your mistakes and apply those lessons to 2018. In fact, my advice is to make mistakes or failures your best friend in 2018. The next lesson that I want to share with you today is to celebrate the little success. Honestly, there was a point in my life when I failed to literally count my blessings. If we look around us, there are so many things we need to be grateful for, starting with the air we breathe, the trees around us, our own lives, the eyes to see, the nose to breathe, the ears to hear. So many things we can be grateful for. The moment I started recognizing that and literally opening my mouth to say how grateful I was for those little things, I started feeling a wind of blessings. Let's translate this into our lives and our journey to greatness. Imagine that you were able to simply register for your business with the state, or register to go back to school, or register to take the exam that will give you the certification that you need. Whatever it is, the very first step, whatever that first step is, I encourage you to understand that in itself demands a celebration. Because my coach once told me that what distinguishes those of us at the starting line from those of us on the couch is what we learn through running to take what the day gives us, what our body will allow us, and what our will can tolerate. I am a firm believer of the compound effect, that small little steps compounded over a period of time essentially leads to greatness. And you will hear me say this again. I absolutely love this concept, and this concept has been the driving force in my life and my journey, and I encourage you to embrace it as well. With this concept in mind, valuing every small success becomes essential for the motivation to continue on your journey. Once again, I track back the moment when I was first introduced to the concept of valuing and celebrating success back to 1988, my first year of middle school. I was only 10 years old and was in my first year of high school. Many of you may or may not know this, but I'm a runner. And I have run several 5Ks, 2 half marathons, 1 full marathon, and in 2018, I plan to run a half marathon as well as a full marathon. The point is that my desire to run goes beyond recent years. Be prepared to laugh, guys. During my first year of high school, I competed in a race, and I got selected to run 400 meters on our school team. Guys, I wasn't great at all. I actually placed 3rd place, and you know what? That qualified me to be on the reserve team. Hear me out, guys. The reserve team against another high school. On the day of the race, my big sister woke me up. She cleaned me up real good, and she gathered her entourage. All her friends wailed and danced with me all the way from the dormitory to the park as if I was actually going to run the race. I felt on top of the world. The point that I'm trying to make here is they were just happy that they knew someone who was on the team. It didn't matter if I was actually running on the reserve team or not. Of course, I didn't run that day, but I strongly believe that the celebration of that little success is what I have carried on into my life and applied it eventually to finish my first full marathon of 26.2 miles. You may be sitting on the call today, and maybe you've not taken the time to be grateful for the little things that are happening around you. I encourage you to make it a point to live your life valuing all those little moments and celebrating them, because, as I stated earlier, the joy of one small accomplishment compounded over a period of time translates into a big success that will come your way in 2018. So that was lesson number 3. Celebrate every little success and allow it to propel you to the next big success. The next lesson that I want to share with you is to believe in yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a cat looking in the mirror and seeing themselves as a lion. We all need to develop the kind of belief system that will give us the strength to move from one stage of our life into the next. As a little girl, my mother told me that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. She also told me that it is not the beginning that matters, it is the end that matters the most. These 2 quotes have stuck with me my whole life. And if you haven't read my book yet, Unleash Your Greatness, then I want to share with you today that the title of my book was inspired by the statement my mother placed into my life, which is each and every one of us are unique, and we are each fearfully and wonderfully made. It is all in how each and every one of us become purposeful in unleashing that greatness that we have in us. So if you're on this call listening to the sound of my voice and believe that this statement resonates with you, then you should already know that you are a champion, a winner. You are the best of the best. You are strong, and you can simply accomplish anything you believe, desire. All you need to do is to, number 1, make a firm decision that you're going to walk this journey no matter what. Number 2, you need to see it happening in your life. And number 3, you need to believe that it will happen and that you can accomplish it. Once you make that firm decision and understand that it's a journey, you will learn to embrace the journey and know that every little experience in our life counts. Although I have been fully aware of this concept for the last 10 years of my life, I was forced to revisit the concept of believing in myself again in 2017. During my time of transformation, as I wrote down all the experiences I had encountered in my life, I truly had an aha moment. It became so clear to me that I was who I am today because my experiences truly makes me extremely unique from anyone else, and this helped me to develop a strong belief system for the next phase of my life. As your friend and coach, I would like to encourage you to do the same for yourself. Spend some time connecting significant memories in your life and allow it to help you define your future by adopting the no-quitting attitude, the do-it attitude, and the can-do attitude, because you can do it. If I move from a different continent to endure all the challenges in this land of opportunity, then you owe it to yourself to try. In fact, the word trying breeds a non-quitting attitude. So simply do it, ladies and gentlemen. I challenge you this upcoming year to put your best foot forward and start by believing in your abilities. That was lesson number 4. Believe in yourself. Lesson number 5, the final lesson that I want to drive home today is to love yourself. Growing up, I knew this concept very well. I was the kid that was always laughing, smiling, taking pictures, posing. Guys, if you follow me on Facebook, you will know that. My kids are my designated photographers, and quite honestly, sometimes they get tired of me. My dear husband is also my original photographer. My daughter said the other day, Mommy just loves listening to herself and watching herself. And I was like, really? A few days ago, while she was sitting with me to prepare this presentation, I explained to her a few reasons why I do that. Number one, I told her, I love myself. And if you don't, no one else will love you more. Number two, looking at myself happy continues to give me the inner joy I need. And number three, when I listen to myself, I learn to improve on myself. She was quiet and she was looking at me. So ladies and gentlemen, check this out. Have you ever heard people say that I don't like taking pictures or I don't like listening to myself? Can you guys, have you heard someone say that statement before? Well, if you have, that is a clear indication of this person essentially not loving themselves. Once again, this last lesson was a concept I had to revisit. After the incident that occurred in my life in 2014, it took me almost 4 years to revive this feeling of loving myself. I laughed less, smiled less, and barely laughed to see memories of my past. But I learned to embrace this concept one more time and I've simply been loving myself so much. What about you? Are you loving yourself? Do you buy gifts for yourself? If not, you should try it because, guys, it feels really good. In fact, I was recently listening to Iyanla Vanzant on an interview conducted by Oprah Winfrey, and she couldn't have said this any better. And I quote, she said, if you are putting yourself last, then essentially you are placing God last in your life because you are a representation of God. Another aha moment followed when she said, it is not selfish to put yourself first, but it is rather self-will to put yourself first because essentially if your cup is full and overflowing, you end up becoming a better mom, a better wife, a better husband, a better sibling, a better friend, and all around a better you. And the people around you will value you more. As another example, my mom placed her life on hold for so long to raise us growing up. She put everyone before her, but years later when we all left home, she was able to pick up her dream again and went back to complete a certificate program in child care management, not because she was going back to work. She's never worked a day in her life, but just so she could fulfill the desire to accomplish her dreams and continue her life journey, not looking back and saying, I wish I had done this. Ladies and gentlemen, as my brother would say, this year he plans to be unapologetically fierce about his dreams. So I challenge you to adopt this mantra and mentality this year. This is your year. This is your season. I believe in you, and I trust that you got this and you can do it. In closing, I would like to start you off on this self-reflection process by asking you a few questions. And if you're taking notes, I would encourage you to do that. If you have a pen and a paper, please write these questions down and spend some time with yourself answering them. Do this only if you feel you're ready to make a change and essentially take serious action in 2018. So here we go. Number one, what is your current profession? It seems like a simple question, right? But you need to write it down. Writing things down is the most important thing that you need to embrace, the most important concept that you need to embrace in 2018. What is your current profession? First question. Second question, what are the great things about your current profession? Third question, what are the not so great things about your current profession? Next question, are you feeling fulfilled? If not, write down why. Next question, what have you always desired to do? What do you dream about all the time? What do you think you were destined to do? What has been holding you back from achieving your dreams and your heart desires? Write it down. Once you have completed this self-reflection process, if you feel you need a coach, please ask for it. I offer individual coaching and group coaching. I am here to help anyone who is willing to make 2018 a breakthrough year for themselves. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This completes day 2 of the UYG 2018 series. I want to start by thanking each and every one of you for dialing in today. Please remember that we do have one last final session tomorrow. Tomorrow we have an amazing speaker lined up to close out our series. His name is Albert Menser, an international keynote speaker, and he will share with all of us about the new you and the new beginning. So don't miss this opportunity to hear from this renowned speaker who is well sought. Invite your 5 closest friends to join you tomorrow so that together you can all walk this journey talking the same language in 2018. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a fantastic evening.